Many people have put the ammo shortage behind them. They see that it's not a problem at all. It's no problem finding our ammo. But what about certain calibers? Why are there some cartridges that are still hard to find? There's certain rounds like 25-06. I mean, good luck finding stuff like that, or a lot of the Wildcat cartridges that just simply didn't catch on. Now, the cartridges that are still hard to find generally come down to the ones that aren't really being used that much, because ammo manufacturers have ultimately looked at what it is people want, and they're looking at NATO standards. Now, the reason manufacturers are so focused on NATO standards is because of military and police contracts have to be fulfilled first, and that's really a vast majority of Americans. Those are the rounds they're looking at: 9mm, 5.56, 7.62, that sort of thing. So these cartridges that are still hard to get are really a lot of hunting cartridges primarily, and not the popular ones. Like, you can still find, you find 30-30, you can find 30-06, but try finding again something like 25-06, some of those 8mm Mausers, things like that. Those are still extremely difficult to find. Well, why? Well, the reason is because manufacturers, when they make 9mm, they're making runs of 9mm 24/7 around the clock, and then every now and then they'll shift in some of these cartridges that a lot of people really just don't want, like 25-06. There's just not a big demand because people will buy millions of rounds of 9mm, but really only a few boxes of 25-06 are being sold here and there. So of course they're just not spend a lot of time making them. They're making them because there is a demand, and people kind of have an expectation of finding that ammo eventually. But there just isn't a lot of production of really a lot of hunting rounds. So in the end, ultimately what it comes down to is these ammo manufacturers, they're going to make what people demand they want. And, we live in a world where there's thousands of different calibers out there, most of which are not particularly popular. So they're just trying to get out what they can. Really what it comes down to is demand. What the demand is for, they're going to supply. And they're then going to just kind of cater to those smaller, well, not smaller cartridges, but smaller demand of cartridges, mostly hunting rounds, that sort of thing. They're going to cater to those last. And that makes the most sense. So why are there still certain calibers hard to find? Because they're just not making a bunch of them, and that's why. And if they're in demand at all, like 30-30s or 30-06s, those are going to get consumed pretty quickly. But then you get something like a 25-06, you're going to probably wait a while to see something like that. But again, it all comes down to supply and demand. So any thoughts or insight on any of that, definitely put it below. If you like this video, click like and subscribe. Feel called to support this channel's Patreon, that link is also below. But the most important part of this channel is we take prayer requests, so please don't ever hesitate to send that in. Thank you for watching this episode of God, Family, and Guns. And as always, love God, love your family, love guns.